Welcome back, Sports Underground. Back for a little NFL talk, a little recap of some early season predictions, kind of a little bit of state of the league right now. Before we start, though, once again, thanks to Mark Olson and everyone here at the Best Western. Once again, the nicest set we're ever going to have right here at the friendly confines of the Best Western Mall of America.
Again, very fine amenities. Yep, can't say enough about them.
All right, so on to the NFL. Halfway through the season, obviously the big stories. Packers looking to go undefeated. Big win today, Thanksgiving Day in Detroit. Clearly the Lions not in the class of the Packers. And I don't know if anyone else in the league is right now. Other stories to talk about. You've got Steelers, Ravens, Patriots, kind of mess in the AFC. The 49ers, only one loss so far. Are they for real? Can they beat the Packers? And then, of course, locally, the dysfunctional team that is the Vikings.
Reminds me of fantasy teams.
Yeah.
Dysfunctional.
Where are they going? What kind of plan do they have? Just a few things to talk about. So let's start with the Packers. A very simple question. Are they clearly the class of the NFL?
They have to be. Is there anybody else that's going to challenge them? I thought it was the Patriots coming into this year. I didn't think the Patriots would be challenged or touched. But it's the Packers. It's funny what confidence does for you, especially an NFL team, and momentum does for you. I still think they're carrying that Super Bowl win in from last season. They still have that swagger. They still have all the players. They still have that attitude like they're going to go out and win every Sunday, and that's a scary thing. And we brought up dysfunction, like the Vikings have, like the Vikings are. It just seems like this sounds stupid. The Packers try a little harder. They play a little harder. They're a little well prepared, more well prepared, a little well organized. More so than the Vikings. The Vikings don't seem like they have an idea of what's going on.
No, they don't.
They don't have that killer instinct.
Well, we're never in a position to kill. I guess we were early in the year. You know, how many double-digit leads can you blow? But, when you got your quarterback throwing everything at people's feet, upside-down receivers, the only thing that would have a chance to catch some of this stuff. But the plan for the Vikings has been screwed up from the start. We talked, the first show we ever did, how the Vikings were not in the class of the Packers. We weren't in the class of the Lions, the Bears. And they've obviously proven it. But they go into a draft, they draft a rookie quarterback, they draft another tight end. The tight end looks like he's going to be the real deal. Ponder, he looks okay, he's had some flashes of brilliance, some confusion. But
expected from a young quarterback, but we didn't draft Sam Bradford.
No, we did not.
I don't think we even drafted the best available quarterback at that spot. I would have been more excited about Ryan Mallett.
Oh, I would have too.
Drafted in the third round. And that's where we should have drafted a quarterback and took a chance on one. We had bigger needs.
Well, that's the thing.
Bigger needs.
Were we rebuilding? In their eyes, no. I mean, I still listen to the radio to this day, and the voice of the Vikings still claims we're not full rebuilding mode.
Did he not predict 11-5?
He did predict 11-5.
Did he not predict 5-11 at best?
Yeah, that was if all the pieces were in place, everything went perfect. 500 was maybe a pipe dream.
A pipe dream, exactly.
So, I think that's the problem. Is there's a lot of people who, the Paul Allens, the Spielmans, I think some of the players on the Vikings team, they're not living in reality where Leslie Frazier said it best. We are what our record is. We're 2-8. We're a 2-8 football team. That's what our record is. There's 5 or 6 really high-end guys. There is nothing. I mean nothing for depth on this team. That defensive backfield, I don't know if you and I could do much worse at covering people than some of these guys do. It's bad.
Do you remember a worse Vikings team in your lifetime?
No.
I don't. And I'm going to go back to 1988, 89, when I really started watching and understanding football. So let's say, close to 25 years. I can't remember being this disappointed and this. I'm kind of numb to the whole losing thing now.
Right.
And I'm realizing that exactly right. We're not competing with the elite teams of the league. No. We're competing with the Carolinas, the Miamis, the Seattles, the Arizonas, the bottom feeders. We are the bottom feeders. Well, if you can't realize that now, front office, when are you going to realize that? When are you going to call a spade and finally?
You got to start over. You have, and if you're not in rebuild mode, you've got to, at least in your mind, you have to understand that you've got to get somewhere. And it's not going to happen overnight. Unless I don't know how much money you have into the cap, you're not going to go out and sign 2 quarterbacks and a safety next year.
No.
It's going to be a process, and you've got to understand, it's got to start now. It should have started last year.
This league now, and this sucks. We talked about it early on in the year. You can't trade Adrian Peterson, but it's such a passing league. You got to hitch your wagon to that quarterback course. This is what that league has become to. Look at the best teams.
Oh yeah, the Patriots.
Drew Brees, Patriot, yeah.
Well, here's a perfect example. Look at the Steelers. They used to be a smash-mouth football team. What do now? They throw it all over the field. Roethlisberger throws 35 to 40 times a game. Yep. They don't even run the football anymore. And this is the Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about. So the Vikings, like you say, they're a running team in a passing league. We can't stop the pass. We can't catch the pass. That's your problem to start with right there.
Take a team like Houston, okay, who for years, for their existence, went with nondescript quarterbacks a lot like we do, okay? They finally bit the bullet and said, we're tying our wagon to Matt Schaub. That's our guy, who isn't bad.
No, not at all.
He's not bad. Is he a top 10 quarterback? I wouldn't say so, but is he top 15?
Oh, absolutely.
He's certainly top half.
Right, and for numbers-wise, he's going to get you 300 yards. He's going to get the ball to Andre Johnson. He's effective at what he does.
But he's not going to lose you a game himself, I don't think.
No, I agree.
You know, it helped to have Andre Johnson, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying...
But they've been winning without him, too. Now, obviously, Schaub goes down with the injury. They're in some trouble, but Johnson hasn't played since week 3. So, the fact that they're...
I'm never drafting Andre Johnson again because he gets hurt every year.
But, you know, there's a guy in that offense who can catch the ball, a guy who can throw him the ball. And then Arian Foster becomes very effective because the fact you get the ball down the field to spread the offense up. This Vikings team, seriously, Tim Tebow has set offense back 30 years with the Tebow offense. That looks explosive compared to what the Vikings are trying to do on a weekly basis. I just don't know.
They look confused and overmatched every single play, every single week.
They do. And the only thing I can say that looks good, Ponder looks composed. He's made enough mistakes. You see, he doesn't really get frazzled. He kind of looks like he's always in control, even though his effectiveness could be a lot better. The Packer game, he did frazzle a little bit.
How many times are you going to have to pick yourself off the ground and get kicked in the teeth before you realize that maybe you're not very good? Confidence goes a long ways. And these formative years are very important for the future of a quarterback, especially on a team that's in such bad need of one. Now is not the time to put him in. If we're 2-8, we're 2-8 with Donovan McNabb as well. And we tied it. We got married to him early on in the season, and we said he's our guy. Roll with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were going to be bad no matter what, and I know they had to put Ponder in and shake it up because once again they believed they had a chance to get back into it.
They sold their soul early to sell games.
They believed I think they honestly thought they had a chance. The Jared Allens of the world, who by the way having one of the best seasons in the history of defensive linemen. I'm not knocking Jared Allen. There's only one Jared Allen on this team. I know they always think they're going to win. I get it. If you're a player, you've got to think you're going to win every game.
But there's teams out there that have teams full of Jared Allens. Why don't we have that? We used to.
I know. I agree. But they just don't have a clear plan like we talked about. They should have just rolled with McNabb, let him get beat up. We talked about David Carr syndrome before on this thing. Ponder's looking to go into that category of what will he ever be because he got hurt too early, beat up too early. That offensive line is sieve-like, and that's being kind. It really is.
But isn't it just disheartening every Sunday to get beat this bad and to know that you're not going to win next week either? I mean, I know it.
Right, oh, absolutely.
I know it. And the Vikings were never this way. I could always count on the Vikings to be 500 or better. Always. I mean, a couple years here and there.
Well, look at the Denny Green years. Playoffs every year but one. I mean, say what you want about Denny Green.
He was fun to watch.
Every week, you knew you had a chance to win, and probably you were going to win. Now, there's some games where you're like, you know, being a Vikings fan, you've had enough heartbreak over the years. I mean, Denny got us to the top of the mountain, and someone pushed him right off. I get it. But at least we were competitive. They were fun to watch. Offensively, you couldn't ask for a more fun team to watch.
No, slinging the ball over the yard, that was a lot of fun. And he knew how to draft and build a team really well. He did.
He did, I mean, offensively.
Yeah.
Now, defensively, you know, the Demetrius Underwoods of the world. I think Chris Holbein was probably the best defensive player ever drafted.
Yeah, but that was a big miss, and that's kind of going to underline his drafting career. I get it.
Right.
But he drafted Randy Moss?
Oh, I know. Offensively, you cannot question it.
He got Dante Culpepper.
Look at the quarterbacks he rolled in. I mean, we rolled through some garbage, but every year he dust another Jim McMahon off the scrap heap, and somehow we'd get to the playoffs.
He found Uncle Rico and revived his career. You know, Jeff George.
He did. And one of my favorites of all time, good Lord, Leroy Horde. You need 3 yards, I'll get you 3 yards. You need 5 yards, I'll get you 3 yards. And that's just one of the greatest quotes in the history of football. That's all I can say. We're going to take a little bit of a break here. We're going to come right back, keep going this Vikings talk. We'll be right back on the Sports Underground.